For those of you who do not know me, my name is Father Mel Trinidad. I'm the provincial of the Salesians of Don Bosco, Western United States. In today's first reading from the book of Ecclesiastes that was proclaimed for us, there is a time for everything. And I'm sure Father Paul, who is watching over us today, is probably enjoying this funeral service with us. Knowing him and his positive attitude about everything, is probably enjoying the fact that it's raining today. That's the way he is. He was, sorry. When I heard, since I was traveling in Texas, in making a visitation of one of our parishes in Laredo, Texas, for the last few days. When I heard that at yesterday's funeral at Don Bosco Techno Institute, there were about 1,200 plus people at Don Bosco Tech. And someone even said, the bishop actually said that there were 70 priests and who concelebrated, and there were 3 bishops, I believe. Well, I was telling the bishop that knowing Father Paul, he was probably competing with Bishop David O'Connell, where there were close to 40 bishops and cardinals, and as one of the Salesians, I don't know why, told me there were 356 priests concelebrating at the funeral services, and with the capacity of Our Lady of the Angels Cathedral, for those of you who are from the Los Angeles area, of about 3,500 people, there were another 2,000 outside. So just do the math. And Father Paul, come close to it. Come close to it. I also do know that in the last so many days since his passing, there have been videos posted, there have been written reflections shared on social media and on other platforms, praising and honoring Father Paul and his life. For myself, Father Paul and I met in 1977 when he first responded to the call to be a Salesian. And so he was there as a pre-novice. At that time we used to call it Son of Mary. And I was in my last year at Don Bosco College in Newton, New Jersey. Over the years, Father Paul and I saw each other, especially those times when he would come to California to attend the annual retreat here in the West, even though he belonged to the East. And some of us would be joking with him and said, since your family is all in California, why don't you just move here? And he would always say, perhaps later, perhaps later. Well, that later came in 2014 when Father Tim Huac was here, then provincial, invited him to go to St. Joseph's Center in Rosemead. And he has been there ever since. As has been already shared on social media and other platforms, Father Paul had a lot of passion. He was full of energy and had so much joy and optimism that people loved him. I think the people here, and especially the people in the last few days, attest to that. I would like to read from the Salesian Constitutions, number 14, because I truly believe that it embodies who Father Paul was for so many years and where his passion and energy and love of life has been coming from. Salesian Constitutions number 14. Our Salesian vocation is graced by a special gift of God, predilection for the young. And then I quote Don Bosco, that you are young is enough to make me love you very much. This love is an expression of pastoral charity and gives meaning to our whole life as Salesians. For their welfare, for the young people's welfare, we give generously of our time, talents, and health. And then I quote again Don Bosco, for you, young people, I study. For you, I work. For you, I live. For you, I am ready even to give my life. This is who Father Paul Chuong was. Today's gospel also reminds us that Jesus was telling his disciples and all those around him that he would do anything for the mission the Father has sent him. Father Paul also believed in the mission to the young, and he would do anything, as I quoted Don Bosco in Constitutions number 14. He would do anything for the young. Yes, he was full of energy, full of life and joy and optimism, but that was coming from within the depth of his soul because of his love for God, his love for Don Bosco, and his love for the young. Many of you have known him over so many years. And many of you probably present here and yesterday knew that when he came to the young people, Father Paul would do just about anything. He had no problem asking for donations because of the young. As a matter of fact, someone was reminding me that in the circles of the Salesians who were his contemporaries in both provinces, East and West, it was known as the Vietnamese Mafia. Because he had no problem asking for help, especially for the young people. I also remember during the pandemic, nothing was going to stop him. Because he said St. Joseph needs to continue. So at some point, he actually showed me pictures, he would text me pictures of funeral services happening outside at St. Joseph Center. Sometimes 2 or even 3 going on at the same time. Because he knew they will give donations or stipends for having the funeral outside. Once again, for the young people that he was serving. We were all serving. Many of us knew, even though he wouldn't say much about it, that he had been ill for a while. And every time I saw him and I said, I'm praying for him, I said, as provincial, I need to let people know what's happening with you. He said, no. Just ask them to pray for me. You don't need to tell them why. In his illness and suffering, there was that optimism and that joy that God is always going to accompany him. And so here we are today, celebrating his life. His life as a brother, as a son, his life as an uncle, as friend and cousin, his life as a Salesian who for many years worked for and with young people. I believe that today, Father Paul, knowing especially his love for the young and praying for and encouraging people to respond, to be a Salesian, to respond to God's call to the service of young people, Father Paul is asking all of us to pray for vocations. That like him, many will respond and say yes to God. And one last thing that I would like to end with, which is also something that we as Salesians know so well. Don Bosco always said to all the Salesians, and it's something that we treasure to this day, and it's something that Paul lived in his life, and many of you can attest to that. Don Bosco said, if you want to be loved, make yourself loved. Make yourself loved. May we honor Father Paul today by making ourselves loved. It is the best gift, the best parting gift we can give to him by living a life of love, by making others love us, by making ourselves loved. And so on behalf of the Salesians of Don Bosco, to Father Paul's parents, siblings, family, to all of you friends, and to the Salesian Don Bosco, we offer you our condolences and our prayers. Please be assured that Father Paul will never be forgotten. May we all live Don Bosco's quote, if we want ourselves to be loved, let us make ourselves loved. Thank you and God bless you.